Hey, welcome. Good morning for me, or good afternoon wherever you're at. Welcome to Talking F1. Oh, that was a hell of a shake. Welcome to Talking F1. My name is Scraggs, and we're here. Thank God, it looks like we actually might get a race this weekend as opposed to last weekend. We are here for the Dutch Grand Prix. I am so excited. Zandvoort, I have not been here in 36 years. That is way too long because this track is too much fun. For those of you who've played a lot of the F1 2020, F1 2021, it is an amazing track. The bank corners are so much fun. They're so fast. One of the big things is not a great track for overtaking in most places. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how that all plays out. Max Verstappen putting in a banger of a lap on qualifying to take pole position. Lewis Hamilton right behind him, Valtteri Bottas, and then Pierre Gasly P4. What a ripping lap he put in. He is putting that car far beyond where it should be. I mean, ahead of both Aston Martins, both Ferraris, both McLarens. These are the guys at the top of the midfield pack. So if we get the right set of circumstances, we could even see him on the podium at the end of this whole thing. I am really looking forward to this. But again, welcome to Talking F1. I'm glad we're actually going to get a race this weekend. So I am currently watching on F1 TV. It's the pre-race show. Obviously, I can't show you the pre-race show or the race itself as far as video feed because I'm not sponsored by F1. I'm just an American who likes watching this stuff and thus waking up at usually about 5:30 in the morning to do so every race weekend. And then, of course, I'm still watching FP1, FP2, FP3, qualifying runs, all of that. I'm watching all of it before I go to work in the morning. So always a good time. Apparently, the crowd right now at Zandvoort here for the Dutch Grand Prix, it's less like a sporting event and more like a nightclub, and that is fantastic. I know everybody's happy to see the fans back in full bloom, full support. Because for the last year and a half, we have not really had any fans, obviously due to COVID. Now we're starting to get them back. This promises to be one of the loudest races that we've seen from crowd in a long time. And I cannot wait. If Max wins this thing, this crowd is going to erupt. It's going to be insane. Now, what is funny is, God, I'm horrible with names, so I can't remember his name, but the commentator right now is having to yell to get things across because the crowd is that pumped up, that hyped up. I can't wait. So while we're going through the pre-show, waiting for the race to start, let's go ahead and check Twitter and see what the racing world is saying about us about 20 minutes from being lights out, and I can't wait. So the Twitter verse. What do we have going on here? Let's refresh that a bit. Clearly Aston Martin, ready to go. AlphaTauri arriving at the loudest grid of the year. Could not agree more. Just even the little bit that we've seen in the pre-show, this crowd is ready to go. This could prove to be a very entertaining race and something that we've been looking for a long time. Mercedes ready to go. Lando Norris, of course, he's snacking before the race. It's Lando Norris. We saw him getting, in his words, peckish while we were waiting for the possibility of an actual start last weekend for the Belgian Grand Prix that never happened really in any of the fans' minds. despite it's being classified as a race after a couple of laps behind the safety car. Lame. Chris Medland, F1. He's on the train to Zandvoort. Oh, no. He sat behind a guy who's dressed head to toe in Kimi gear. Kimi Räikkönen, of course, not going to be in this race. He contracted COVID. We wish him the best. We also know he will be retiring at the end of this season. So hopefully he gets better soon and we can actually see him on an F1 track before this whole thing is done. I don't know about the rest of you, but I will absolutely be be voting for him as, a driver of the day thing, just so we get another classic Kimi Räikkönen interview. I want that. I know most of the people out there want that. It's got to happen. Haas getting out there now. Obviously, a lot of very, very interesting things to talk about there. We had the major tangle up, not an actual incident, but certainly something that caused Sebastian Vettel some issues. There's a little bit of heat in that team between Nikita Mazepin and Mick Schumacher, and it will be very interesting to see how that plays out during the race. If any sort of penalties or anything are applied, whether it's points or grid spots or anything like that. Very, very touchy situation, and the rivalry between those two is only going to get worse because, everybody knows eventually Mick Schumacher's going to Ferrari. It's going to happen. He's not going to be staying at Haas or even only moving up to, say, the Alfa Romeo seat or something like that. Like, he's going to Ferrari. Rumors have it pegged for about 2023. We'll see what happens there. I'm not sure he's going to have to show that he can take the substandard car and be more than, place higher at the end of a race than, the bottom four. He's going to have to get up into, the mid to low teens. If he can get himself up to a 13th in this Haas sometime during the season, then yeah, it's almost a guarantee that he's going to Ferrari by 2023. Alpine out there talking with race winner Esteban Ocon, who just drove a fantastic race just before the midseason break. It was something to watch. After Valtteri Bottas causing that major issue, taking out a number of the front runners, but Esteban, fantastic drive by him. Fernando Alonso pulled a miracle in holding off Lewis Hamilton to guarantee that Ocon got the win. And you got to love that teamwork between the two, especially the older dog, the scrappy dog in Fernando Alonso, and the much more green young gun Esteban Ocon, who has been in the sport for a while, but obviously does not have all of the experience, has not been through all the situations, and isn't a world champion. So, Esteban, he could do some things this weekend. Alfa Romeo out there enjoying the beautiful weather. I couldn't agree more. This is what I'm talking about right here. Look at that crowd. If it was any more orange, I would say that there wasn't a single fan of another driver in the crowd at all, period. The smoke, the shirts, the capes that they've been giving out for free, apparently. I want one. Just absolutely incredible. I know everybody's looking forward to it. I know I'm looking forward to it. Well, it suddenly disappeared. Where the hell are we? Sorry if this is getting you a headache. It's throwing me off too. Yeah, it just threw me back to the top. But yeah, the crowd's amazing. Pierre Gasly starting in P4 again, with a great strategy and even just one or two good incidents. Could we see Pierre Gasly not only on the podium? Could we see him getting a second race win? Unless something happens to Max, I doubt it. But we could absolutely see him on the podium. It proves that this could be very, very interesting. Oh, I can't wait for this. I can't wait. I want this. And everybody's in race suits except for the band. I love it. Do. Jimmy Broadbent. Everybody's favorite former shed dweller. Having a good time. Gotta love it. Do. Williams supporter out there. Williams seems to be struggling on this track. Obviously, George Russell put in an absolutely blistering qualifying lap in the rain for the Belgian Grand Prix that never happened, but it did earn him his first podium in Formula One with a P2. Very, very happy for him. Hopefully, he can get back into the points on this race as well and really kind of solidify the choice, because while I'm seeing a lot of things saying that it's been confirmed that he is taking that second Mercedes seat for next season, nothing's been confirmed. Until the teams come out and say it, I'm always going to wait with bated breath. But my God, George Russell has been Mr. Saturday and certainly working towards Mr. Sunday as well. So we will see what happens. Plans to be very, very interesting. The Aston Martin hat on the pooch. Gotta love it. Such a good boy. So this is interesting. Pirelli, obviously the tire supplier for Formula One. We're looking at C1, C2, and C3 compounds. So some of the hardest that they have. And it looks like, according to Pirelli, for most teams, going soft to hard will be, on a one stop, will be the quickest. But here's the thing. If we get enough safety cars or incidents that happen, will we see teams purposely switch to a two-stop system, or will they really try to push that hard tire from anywhere between lap 25 and 30 till the end of the race? Given the banking and the stress these tires could be under, I don't know that that's going to be the best option. I mean, we're looking at about 70 laps around a very fast, very technical track. Honestly, the middle one, if you can start on the mediums, I think that might actually be the fastest, barring a big, safety car red flag situation. But really, I mean, you're probably going to be looking at a very short two-stop being the fastest. And I certainly expect at least one of the front-running teams, maybe Valtteri Bottas, to go to that two-stop strategy as a means of, one, trying to cut off any shenanigans from Red Bull and AlphaTauri, but definitely to double check that, because we know Zandvoort will be coming back next year. So they're probably going to be using some of this time to test what these tires are going to do. Obviously, the tires are changing, the car's changing next year. But even then, you can kind of get an idea, okay, we can push this far and this far on this compounded tire, putting our windows for next year roughly in this range, and then they can, tweak things and really seal in the details for the race next year. So we will see what happens there. Very, very interesting. There's Valtteri Dog. Honda Power coming in, Honda F1 Racing. Honestly, to me, one of the surprises of this year, especially given some of the mid struggles of last year, where they really didn't start to come into their own until towards the end of the 2020 season. Seeing Honda, I mean, honestly, outclassing Mercedes at this point, and it's almost terrifying to say that, being that Mercedes has dominated the turbo hybrid area for as long as they have. Seeing Honda come in and really, put it on them has been very, very entertaining. It's really made this season probably one of the most interesting to watch as of late. More love for Max. McLaren fan cheering from Scotland. Obviously, McLaren struggling a little bit. Daniel Ricciardo putting in a great lap. But Lando Norris getting knocked out in Q2. He's going to have a lot of work to do in order to even just get up into the points places. But certainly, if he wants to try and keep his former streak of the God, I think it was a streak of what, top 6 finishes for most of the season. If he wants to add another one of those, he's going to have a lot of work to do. It should be very, very interesting. Dutch GP Garage playlist. So should be interesting. And they're playing the Supermax song in the grandstands. That's awesome. Don't know why I have a bald 3D anime girl head, but whatever. Alrighty. So we are getting very, very close to race time. God, I can't wait for this. God, I can't wait. All right. And we are only about 10 minutes or so from lights out if everything goes according to plan. And there's nothing saying that right now it won't. So we're going to go back to this and we're going to get ready for this thing. So out there in the Twitchverse, the Scraggs TV community, feel free to jump in chat. I'm always watching. Let's talk about this race. What do you think is going to happen? I think it's going to be a pretty cut and dry affair. A couple of overtakes, maybe a few safety cars. Don't know who's going to cause them because there's so many things that are up in the air about this. But let me know what you're thinking. Let me know what you think is going to happen. And who do you think is going to be your driver of the day? Right now, early money is probably going to be on maybe like a Pierre Gasly, but oh my God, it really is a nightclub in there. And I really need to go to one of these F1 races sometime. Jesus Christ. And Haas00312 with a couple of underscores. Thank you for the follow. We are a brand new channel. Not a whole lot of followers, no subscribers at this point, but you know what? We're just out here streaming for the fun of it. If you like what you see, if you want to join us for the rest of the races of this year, hit that follow button. Let us know that you like what you see, and we will continue to make this happen. I'm also planning on trying to stream some gameplay footage or just talking about big news in the F1 world, probably on Wednesday nights or Thursday during the day local time, which is, middle of America, literally. We'll be out here streaming, playing some games, just having some fun. Yeah, this crowd is absolutely insane. God. And so sad news, something that I did want to talk about is, unfortunately, seems the U.S. Grand Prix has been canceled this year. And that is depressing because that was going to be my chance to go to a race this season. So we're probably now going to have to wait till next season before we're able to actually see what's going on. 7 minutes to go. Ooh, wham. All right. God, we're so close. Just commercials going on right now. So back over to Twitter and let's see. Oh, come on. What Twitter is saying. TJ playing Supermax at full volume. Could you expect anything more? I know I didn't because, I mean, it's the Dutch Grand Prix. Yeah, this is Max Verstappen's home race. The first time that he's had a home race, true home race. Quadrant look like they're setting up with Super GT. So, see what they're talking about here a little bit later. Everybody just excited for this race. What a sight on the way to the grid. Absolutely. That looks like something that you would take a screenshot of in like F1 2021 to try to say, oh yeah, racing is cool. Like that doesn't look real. But my God, is that just gorgeous. Yep. Wow. Wow. Oh my God. Look at the bike parking, the tent camping. Wow. All right, so you're looking at two DRS zones, one obviously along the front straight, but then between turns 10 and 11, it looks like there's a big DRS zone there as well. So we could see some overtakes going into 11. So very, 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 very interesting. Some of the history, obviously, you had Alain Prost getting tangled up uh, with his teammate in the late 80s or the early 80s in turn 3. You had the big crash caused by Mario Andretti in the 70s around turn 1. I fully expect that we're going to see a little bit of a tangle up into turn 1 in right off the gat. It's going to be big. So we're going to try something, but we're going to have to switch off pretty quick. So boom. Oh. It's not going to let it do it. That's actually okay because I don't want to get canceled. So Perez will be at the very back of the grid due to an engine change. I guess this actually works out kind of in Red Bull's benefit because we knew that they were probably going to have to take a brand new power unit before the end of the season. They were already tapped out due to accidents and just normal racing wear and tear. So starting at the back of the grid, it actually presents a unique thing where on the blue flag issues, could he still end up being a bit of a thorn in the side of the Mercedes team, even from the back of the grid, just being a rather annoying, lapper? We will see. Oh my God, this is going to be so good. Everybody's getting ready to launch on the formation lap before we start the first Dutch Grand Prix in 36 years in front of an electric crowd on a gorgeous day. Oh, I can't wait. Tire blankets are coming off. Really big thing is Pierre Gasly and the AlphaTauri gonna kind of play the pressure guy on the two Mercedes in 2 and 3. Being in P4, he's in the perfect spot to do it, or is he going to try to just run his own race and see if he can't get as far up the grid as possible? Or is he just going to try and hold pat? Maybe put some pressure on the Mercedes to try and help Max out. It's going to be real interesting. Obviously, we know Sergio Perez already signed for next year. And then after this qualifying session, Pierre not exactly thrilled, kind of confused as to why. So we are on the formation lap. Here we go. Now, the turn 3, that bank corner, very interesting how everybody's lines have been. Max Verstappen, obviously kind of diving in, then taking the high line late, coming around. We have the Alpines kind of taking the wall of death style all the way around the outside from start to finish. We have some of the Ferraris cutting in a little bit after the apex. So it will be very interesting to see how everybody's line through these bank corners affects not only their lap times, but whether or not it gives them overtaking opportunities, because that's going to be a big thing, especially for Max Verstappen, Valtteri Bottas, those guys trying to get past Max Verstappen to keep him from winning this race and potentially taking the lead in the driver's title. And then certainly they're going to want to put some distance in that Constructors' Championship as well, because right now they are only 7 points ahead of Red Bull. This is about the closest that either of these two title runs have been all season. This is going to be very fun. Previous winner at Zandvoort has been Niki Lauda. Before that, Alain Prost, who's won twice in the previous 5 races through the early 80s. Will we add Max Verstappen's name to that? I certainly hope so. Obviously, I am wearing Ferrari, but what that Red Bull car has done, and especially just how fast Max is when that car is twitchy, it's just something to behold. How is he that fast when the back end is that touchy? It will be a thing to see. There we are. Max Verstappen has taken his spot on pole. The grid's lining up, and we are mere moments from kicking this off and really having a lot of fun. This plans to be a great race. There's Toto Wolff, who, big news on that one. He says if Alex Albon wants the Williams seat, obviously he's not going to stop him, but he has to leave Red Bull to do so. That is spicy, because obviously Christian Horner does not want to let go of Alex Albon. He still believes in him. Otherwise, they wouldn't have kept him as the backup driver, gotten him the DTM drive. Oh, here we go. All right. 1 light, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights, and we are racing at the Dutch Grand Prix. Great start from Verstappen, cuts off Hamilton going into turn 1. Bottas touching the outside a little bit, all 3 wide between the 2 Ferraris and Pierre Gasly. Yep. Oh, wow. The inside line really trying to push that and make it work. Wow. Seriously, super clean through the first 4 corners. Oh, a little touching. The Alpines running right next to each other. That will help them out. They can push each other. God, tracks like Zandvoort remind you just how fast these cars are, because all the other tracks super wide, and it feels like everybody's just kind of cruising. But my God, this is the kind of track that really reminds you just how fast even the slowest Formula One cars are. These things are. This is amazing. God, I love this. Verstappen is putting on a bit of a gap. Wow, and he's already out of DRS range. That's insane. Oh, the Haas's are battling again. Oh, a little bit of lockup thing from Mazepin. Yeah, oh no, it looked like that maybe it was Mick Schumacher with a bit of a lockup. That is interesting. Wow. Oh, Daniel Ricciardo. Yep, there it is. Smoke, some oil. That's not great news. Oh no, big puff of smoke. Yeah, Daniel Ricciardo is probably not long for this race, and that is unfortunate. Hopefully, it's just overfill, but if that engine's failing, that's not good. Um, they haven't pulled him yet, so if it was an actual like oil level, like low oil level issue, that would be immediately they just pull him to try and save the engine. Um, so the fact that they haven't means they think it's probably overfill and it's just burning off a little bit. Some to keep an eye on. 9th place for Daniel Ricciardo at the moment. Yep. I'm just glad we're seeing so far a clean race. Ooh, a couple of real close calls, but my God. Antonio Giovinazzi got a little bullied out there and managed to lose. Ooh. Oh. Nikita Mazepin doing the standard Mazepin thing of pushing. Funny enough, his teammate way offline. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a little a cheeky look at that from the stewards, because that was interesting. Perez is now past Michael Schumacher, Mick Schumacher. Michael, come on. Fastest lap, obviously, Max Verstappen. No big surprise there. He's already 2.4 seconds ahead of Lewis Hamilton. He is really running away with this race. On lap 4 of 72, that means DRS is open. So Alonso and Ocon are right within DRS of each other. They are battling for that 7th position. Race control, DRS is enabled. Very clean racing. Oh, woof. Esteban Ocon and Fernando Alonso almost came together out of turn 3. taking two wildly different lines. With Ocon looked like he took the full inside line, tried to go wide on the exit. Obviously, Fernando Alonso kind of pushing. And of course, Hamilton immediately trying to pull the hole. These tires are going to struggle to keep this pace. I don't believe it. Mick Schumacher already in the pits. Switching to the hards already at lap 5. So he and Perez both. Interesting. So we will see what everybody pushes for. Obviously, we still have Nicholas Latifi on the mediums. So we will see what happens. But here's that move. Dived to the inside and very nearly collected. Oh, and Alonso got a little squirrely on the exit. That was real close. Ooh, little tap on the teammate there. And 2.75 second gap between Verstappen and Hamilton. Bottas 5.5 seconds behind. If Verstappen is able to pull, call it a 12-second gap before the first pit stops on Valtteri Bottas, that kills the chance of the undercut. And at that point, Verstappen is basically going to walk away with this thing. Ooh, big lockup from Sergio. A big flat spot for Sergio Perez after that lockup on the brand new hards as well. He's going to struggle with vibration because of that. They may end up hitting him again, just to avoid, losing everything in the race. But that was a huge lockup. We are up to a 3-second gap. 6 seconds to Bottas. And Gasly's already 12 seconds behind. 6 seconds behind the lead cars. Valtteri Bottas preaching patience, play the long game. Very, very smart this one. Keep the pace high enough to keep everybody behind you, but not so high that you burn the tires out. And really, maybe even looking for the overcut at this point. Mm-hmm. There's Pierre Gasly in P4. If he finishes there, that will be a fantastic result for him. Great result for the AlphaTauri team as well. It's so nice to see racing again. So some very interesting lines through those bank corners. You can tell a lot of the drivers are kind of backing off through the Dragonesses, 4 or 5 things like that. They're really starting to buckle in for the long haul, and I mean that's not a bad thing. They're all starting to set up their strategies. Now, the question is, in setting up their strategies, who goes when and to what? Now, obviously, we're probably going to see most, if not all, of the top 10 pit four hards here in about 16, 17 laps. Ooh. So, yeah, this could get interesting. Now, Sergio Perez is not terribly far from being lapped by Max Verstappen now. Obviously, they're going to let Max go by, but how long do they tell Sergio to kind of flirt with the issue of getting a penalty for ignoring the blue flag? Uh, hmm. Hmm. So Sebastian Vettel comes in for the hards. So he is going to look to try to use an early stop to jump up the ranks a little bit, see what he can do. Sergio Perez just put in fastest lap of the race, jumps Sebastian Vettel through the pits, 114.596 on a medium tire. So a lot of complaints about being able to go faster in clean air. Obviously, current generation cars, a lot of dirty air, really kind of makes things a little bit difficult in traffic for setting up passes without losing all of your downforce and all of your grip. So we are gonna start being in the undercut pit window here in about 4 or 5 laps. Not a whole lot has changed. Obviously, we have Perez has been in the pits several times now. Vettel's now been in the pits. Latifi. So we will see. I mean, Nikita Mazepin up at 16. If he breaks top 15, that will actually be for that car and for that driver. That'll be an impressive result. Be a legitimately impressive result. George Russell not quite yet able to get himself into the top 10. He's hanging just outside, about 7/10 behind Antonio Giovinazzi, who had a rough start after having a great qualifying lap. He dropped 3 places on the opening lap. Big move by Latifi to get past Mazepin. That was great. Very smooth drive. Got right around Mazepin to take 16th. Now he's going to be looking at Kubica to try and get into 15 and start catching time back up on Yuki Tsunoda. Trying to get closer to his teammate Russell, help them both push. This will be interesting. Gasly already 13 seconds behind the leader. Mm-hmm. So it looks like Max has been doing a really good job of keeping Lewis Hamilton just about the same distance, even gaining about half a second on the last lap. Yep, about half a second. Hmm. So big move on Nikita Mazepin by Sergio Perez, who gets up into 17th, gets past the Haas. Now he can start tracking down Latifi and try to start clawing his way up this grid, try and get himself back into the points. Obviously, he has had a very rough couple of races. Taken out going into the mid-season break. No race plus the crash during the formation lap at the Belgian Grand Prix last weekend. Then with the no race means no points. So he needs to get probably a full 7 places. And I can already tell you, it looks like it's not going to be easy to pass. The moves can be done, but you got to pick your battles on this track, it looks like. So menu position 6. Menu dash position 6. I'm gonna imagine that's got to be some sort of either fuel trim. It's either got to be that. You may be looking at maybe a brake balance thing, trying to even out pressure or temps on the brakes, maybe temps on the tires. Especially if Hamilton has been trying to push, then you may be looking at an issue where his tires are not in the proper windows. They're overheating in spots. So we will see what happens. This looks to be a much more cut and dry affair than what a lot of us were hoping for. That being said, it looks like it could very well be actually a more interesting affair with the strategies, with pit strategies. So Sergio Perez is already up on the back end of Nicholas Latifi and Robert Kubica. So maybe in the next couple laps, we'll see a big pass on Latifi. Perez still holding on to that fastest lap. Obviously, still very early car, still very heavy. Oh, Perez trying to make the move on Latifi. Got right up behind him. Not quite enough to make that move stick up. There it goes around the outside. Cuts around. That seems to be a Sergio Perez classic move. We saw the same thing happen in Bahrain when he pulled the last of first challenge while he was with the Racing Point BWT team. So Sergio Perez started dead last of 4 spots. Just great move here. Takes the inside to set it up. And boom. The big outside move, then cut the inside apex right there and make that move stick. Fantastic driving by Sergio Perez so far, despite a horrible qualifying situation. So he's back up to where he initially qualified, I believe. But then obviously with the grid penalties for the new engine. All right, so we're already starting to see blue flag traffic. Ooh, is that a little bit of a wiggle from Lewis Hamilton? Sergio Perez going on the outside of Robert Kubica and makes the move stick in turn 1. Beautiful move. And Lewis Hamilton in on the undercut. Oh, kind of a slow stop. 3.6. He's going to lose a lot of time. Now, he's probably not going to be behind Pierre Gasly, who is just coming around, but it's going to really shore up. It's really going to close things up, and that could leave Gasly free to do kind of whatever he wants in dealing with Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz behind him. Oh, yeah, that front right slowed him down pretty heavy. Slow stop, 3.6. And that puts Pierre Gasly 4 seconds behind. So that gap will immediately start to open back up. Now the question is, what does Max Verstappen do in response? Up, there we go. We get the immediate response with the box. Here he is. Now, yep. And let's see how fast they can make this. Boom, boom, boom. 2.7 second stop. That will easily keep him clear of Lewis Hamilton. Obviously, Valtteri Bottas yet to pit. I'm surprised they haven't put him on an alternate strategy yet. That is really kind of a shock. Hamilton really trying to push to get around. Woof. That is... Yep, gap to Verstappen is now only 2.2. Now remember, going into these pit stops, Hamilton was actually almost 4 seconds out. I think it was 3.5 about. Now both on the medium compound tires. Obviously, Lewis Hamilton's a little bit warmer, 1 lap more on him, but it will be very interesting. Now, Verstappen can start to claw back some of that time on Valtteri Bottas. It will make Bottas's choice of when to pit much more interesting, but Hamilton is catching. He is floating between 1.8 and 2 seconds. Wow. And Hamilton sets the fastest lap at a 1:13.7. So, given the tires that they're on going in the mediums, it looks like we are confirmed for a 2-stop strategy for Verstappen and Hamilton. That probably means Bottas is going to be running longer on the softs before going over to the hards. So it'd be real interesting to see how that strategy interplays with the timing of everything, because those soft tires are going to start falling off. Probably here no more than maybe about 6 or 7 laps. So already knocked out about 1.90, 2.1 seconds almost. That has been clawed out of Bottas by Verstappen. The problem is Hamilton right behind, less than a full 2 seconds, which is not what Verstappen wants. He wants to keep Verstappen, or he wants to keep Hamilton, more than 2 seconds behind, just to account for any small mistakes. This is going to get very, very interesting at the bottom, and you can see Yuki Tsunoda doing a really good job defending his position from Sergio. Don't let him pass. Don't let him pass. Oh, and there's going to be an inside line. Easy cut through. So Yuki Tsunoda, let's talk about him so far this season. I know we're just out of the midseason break. He started off with just a very impressive performance, coming all the way up to P9 for the first race of the year, and then has just really struggled in this AlphaTauri car. I mean, I know obviously they're probably tailoring the car more towards Pierre Gasly and his driving style, so that could cause some issues for how Yuki Tsunoda likes to drive. But how is it that Yuki is always kind of in this position of struggling a bit when Pierre Gasly is consistently overperforming in the vehicle? All the way down to 5 and change seconds. Verstappen to Bottas. Oh, Gasly into the pits. That means Charles Leclerc. They're probably going to pit Carlos Sainz in response. No, they did not pit him. So he would be looking to take those two positions back. Oh, Alonso passes as well coming out of the pit exit. So he's all the way down to 7th. Now the question is, ooh, those left side tires definitely losing a lot of the performance. Now that right front doesn't take nearly the impact on this particular track. So it looks like they are going to push Valtteri Bottas long on those softs. Yep, so they're definitely putting him on a 1. We're looking at 29 laps worth of time on those tires, 26 taking in the race. We could be looking at a very interesting situation, God forbid. If we get a major puncture from Valtteri Bottas, that could throw this whole thing into chaos. So a lot of tire strategy things to consider here. So they're going to tell Verstappen to get on it a little bit and try to catch Lewis's teammate and try to make the pass. Especially, I mean, Hamilton is now catching up, significantly. Was almost 2 seconds behind. Now, really only about 1.5 seconds back. Excuse me. For those of you overseas, who are over in, the Western Europe area, who are able to watch this race in real time. Yes, I am watching in real time, but I had to be up at about 6 a.m. local time on a Sunday, my one day off from my normal job to do this. So when you watch F1 at 6 a.m., you know it's going to be a good day. All right, so we're going to let this part of the race unwind for a little bit. We will be back quite shortly. Stick around. If you have any questions or just want to talk F1, I'm watching chat all the time. So, shoot me a message and let's see exactly what it is we're looking at. Yeah, my name is Scraggs. This is Scraggs TV, and I will be right back. All right, we're back because Max Verstappen just put the move on Valtteri Bottas and takes back over the lead and is now able to push Valtteri Bottas, allowing his teammate Lewis Hamilton to just slide on by. And now we are in a race. DRS range for Lewis Hamilton. Can Verstappen pull away? And the crowd has erupted. Oh, yeah. So now the marbles on Max Verstappen's car are going to play a factor in how quickly can he get back up to his pace. Already up to 1.6 seconds, so out of DRS. And there is Bottas into the pits. We're still waiting on Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz to actually pit. That could mean that Pierre Gasly may only be looking at a 5th place finish because that is a big gap. Gasly's really going to have to push it. So, Verhambot, is that what we're going to see? Verhambot? I quite think so. Sainz is in the pits. We could be looking at Pierre Gasly. Yep, back up into 5th. Carlos Sainz all the way back down into 7th. Ocon jumps into the pits. Alonso, I don't think is pitted yet. So let's see. All right, so Bottas is going to be on the medium to the end. Yuki Tsunoda in the pits. He was up in 10th. He is all the way back down at 16th after 17th now after Vettel has passed him. Hmm. Yep. So they're going to try and force Valtteri Bottas to close into Max Verstappen's pit window. So shockingly, for a race that everybody said was going to be really hard to pass, we've seen some really nice moves. Now, oh no, George Russell, 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That sucks. So Gasly only a second behind Charles Leclerc, a second and a quarter, second and a half almost. So this is going to be very, very interesting to see what happens there. Charles Leclerc in the pit, that's going to allow Pierre Gasly to get his P4 back. Yep, there it is. Now, Pierre Gasly, shockingly, maybe not terribly far behind Valtteri Bottas. And both Ferraris jumping onto the hard compounds during their pits. Everybody ahead of them on medium. So this could get really interesting. We may actually see if an issue happens with the pit stops for Hamilton or Verstappen. We could see Ferraris on the podium, which obviously I would be okay with because Ferrari. Wow. So about 24-second gap from Bottas to our leader, Max Verstappen. All right, so first couple of laps after the pit stops, everything's kind of fallen back into place. So we're going to take just a brief break. We will be back here in probably no more than maybe about 5 minutes or so. So we will see you then. All right, so big news coming into the race. We now have Lewis Hamilton early cutting in, trying to try to undercut Max Verstappen, which a lot of traffic. So they're going to tell Verstappen to keep pushing. So what does Max do? Oh, and Hamilton is not happy, but here comes Red Bull with the pit. Will he come back out ahead of Lewis Hamilton? Will he get that quick jump? So they're going to put him on the hards to send him for the rest of the race. All right, where are we at? It's going to be big. So there's Hamilton coming down the front straight. He looks like he will keep the lead for now, but he will be slow coming through the first few laps. So can he hold that lead through the first couple of laps to get those tires up to grip and up to temperature? This is going to be huge. Used mediums for Hamilton. Mercedes may. So it's a scrub set of mediums. This is going to be very interesting. So the good news is once Max Verstappen's tires come up to temp, he's going to be able to go balls out for the rest of the race. So it's going to be by about lap 50, if Verstappen's still in the lead, he's going to win this. Very interesting that Red Bull did not have another set of mediums available, because that has been shown to be one of the fastest tires around. Okay, so they're saying a reasonable tire on the Ferraris, and that's why they decided to go the hards there to make sure it's a decent tire. C1. One of the old hard C1s. So he's a little concerned. So very, very interesting coming out of Zandvoort. What is going to happen here? That being said, Sergio Perez is quickly clawing up. Norris is yet to pit, so he's probably going to end up losing that 7th position, which leaves Perez to try and get clear of the Ferraris and get up into this fight to try to make things interesting at the very end. Depends on what team orders end up being from Gasly should Perez get past both Ferraris. So as it sits right now, Verstappen leads, followed by Hamilton, then Bottas, Gasly in 4th, Leclerc, then Sainz in 6th, Norris in 7th, Perez all the way up to 8th, Alonso 9th, Ocon 10th, Ricardo in 11th, just out of the points, with Russell right behind with a 5-second penalty. Stroll and Tsunoda in 14th. Good to see he's starting to claw his way back up. Latifi in 15th, Vettel in 16th, Giovanni, then Kubica, and then, we have a retired Nikita Mazepin. And Hamilton's wondering if they call the bluff. So Norris is pinned. He's down in 11th, but he's fresh and he's right behind his teammate. So we could see both of these McLarens really push to try and get past the Alpines and make their way back into clean points. Obviously, we have Ricardo in points on one end, but Norris not there, so we could see what happens here. Ooh. So Lewis not happy with this medium tire choice. So Verstappen is pulling away 8/10 on the last lap. That is a huge chunk out. So big news. And we will see what traffic does as far as playing a part in that gap. Up to 3.3 now. Pierre Gasly. Yep. He's got 7 seconds ahead, 8 seconds about ahead of Leclerc, but he's also about 30 seconds behind the top three. So unless we have a wreck from Hamilton or Bottas or a big tire issue, it looks like fourth place is where he will stay. Hamilton is not happy about this tire switch. Now, the question is, because I know Pierre Gasly started on the softs and went to mediums, where does that put him as far as with the laps left? He still has about, 26 laps left? Yeah, 26 laps. Does he have the laps left in those mediums to finish this race on a one-stop soft to medium? I don't know that he will. Oh no, Ocon has some sort of obstruction in a brake duct. So Norris is now ahead of Daniel Ricciardo. They switched him. Now, if that allows Norris to claw up, take Ocon, then Daniel maybe can get past. And then we have both McLarens in the points, obviously lower points than what they want, but they're at least both in the points and would push Alpine, one of the Alpines, out of the points. It could be that the 6 points that Perez could net if he finishes in P7 could end up playing a huge part in that constructor's title. Could be a huge part. There's Alonso coming right up along the back of Sergio Perez. Clearly, his mediums are in better shape than the mediums that Sergio Perez has been running for a long time, ever since that early pit after bald spotting a fresh set of hards. So that's going to be a thing, we'll say. Hamilton saying he's not going to make it to the end of the race on the tires with a grand total of 24 laps. So we will see if we get the infamous Hamilton second wind on the tires. So we've seen him complain about this before, and it may be something that is trying to get Verstappen to let off a little bit and allow Hamilton to close that gap. Sergio Perez in to get a fresh set of softs, it looks like. .5, very quick stop. It does put him behind Norris and Ricciardo, but does it allow him to get clear of Russell and Stroll? Up there's Russell, and Perez will be right in the middle of it, but he should be in a good spot to get ahead of Sergio Perez after, and it will allow him to push to get into the top 10. If he can get there. Now, he will be on softs, so that will be very interesting to see if he's able to get back into that top 10. You know, any points, even a single point right now would be huge, and especially being on softs, there's a chance he could take that fastest lap away from Lewis Hamilton. We'll see what happens. So, new fastest lap from Lewis Hamilton. So now Sergio Perez free to try to claw back time into that top 10. Oh, oh no. No, and Yuki Tsunoda looks like he is retired. He has retired. Uh, that is unfortunate. He was starting to claw things back, sitting in about 14th position. Oh. Now, that second retire does mean that we will have both McLarens there. Hamilton unable to claw much time. Looks like he's actually about 3/100ths of a second slower than Verstappen on the last lap. But he's gotten it under 3 seconds of a gap between he and Max Verstappen. So I think we're looking, barring any big mechanical failures or accidents, probably about uh, what our race is going to look like. So, barring anything crazy, we will be looking at Verstappen, then Hamilton, then Bottas as your podium. Gasly just outside of P4. Oh, 3 laps old. Softs available for Hamilton. Could put a challenge on Max, but I don't know. Hmm. So 2.4 seconds down. Who knows? This will be a very interesting set for the end of the race. Is what happens. Honestly, yep, pulled half a second out of Verstappen on the last lap, who pulled a 1:13.999. So about a 1:14 there. 5 seconds off qualifying pace, but we don't really ever expect to see the qualifying pace on race day. So, they're gonna try to hold Perez up to keep Norris in there. Yeah. Ooh. So what do we see? We have Perez with DRS, but can't close the gap enough to make the move in turn one. Right behind Ricardo. Ricardo going to try and build a little bit more of a gap now. Really trying to hold him up, keep him from making a move, keep him in dirty air. I really should make a cup of coffee before I start doing these early morning races. So Sergio's going to look to close the gap. Okay, so Hamilton's engineer told him to slow down, hold on to the end. Hamilton says no. I want to go fast. So then the race says, okay, yeah, go fast. Keep doing it then. Now, what does this mean for Verstappen? Is he going to have to pick up the pace to keep Hamilton out of DRS to make this happen? Perez finally gets by. Let's go. Who's next? He's Sergio Perez making the move on Daniel Ricciardo. He's wanting to claw his way up to Lando Norris, try to get as many points as he can, but he is in the points now. So that is going to be interesting. So that means Hamilton's going to have to keep that fastest lap. But if Perez can get some clean air and make that fastest lap happen on those fresher softs, what does that mean? What does Hamilton do? Okay. Well, so he's driver of the day. Very blatantly has to be Sergio Perez, picking up 10 spots. That is just massive. So, all right. So, driver of the day thus far, who is there? Nikita Mazepin's actually listed. I'm surprised they would even risk it. That being said, I honestly think we got to look at Perez or Lando Norris on this one. A lot of it will come down to, really, who ends up ahead. If Lando Norris stays ahead, I think it's fair. So, yeah, very, very interesting. So things are going to be very interesting. Let's see what Twitter has to say about what is happening. If I could spell, that'd be great. Twitter. Luke Smith, F1. Perez up into the points with Red Bull with a pass on Ricardo. Merck set to extend constructors' lead as things stand, though. Truth. 15 laps to go. Keep pushing, Max. Put out by Red Bull Racing Honda. With that tire wear the way it's sitting, this could be quite interesting. Do a little bit of sand kicked up by the Aston Martins, but that's okay. Now, could we be looking at a 3-stop? That would be quite interesting. So it would seem really all the tires are being decent tires. Normally, you see, the softs being too aggressive or the hards being too stiff. But the fact that all three seem to be pumping out fairly similar times at their optimal temperatures is very, very interesting. Ten laps to go. This is getting interesting. The gap now up to about 4 seconds. Uh-oh. So we have a camera on Verstappen. It looks like he might be picking up time. So, as it stands, with 10 laps to go. Oh, so they have some tires pulled for Lewis Hamilton. Could that mean that they're going to try and swap him onto softs and have him push to the end to try to make the pass? Could we be at a 3-stop? That would be interesting, especially, 10 laps left. Is it too late? Is something like that you figured you want to do around 15 laps left? So now we're down to 9 laps. Things are interesting. There's going to be a lot of talk about whether or not certain tire strategies made sense, and keeping certain tires available. Certainly, if Leclerc passes Gasly, AlphaTauri is going to have some conversations about tire selection and strategies. Doesn't appear to be happening, but maybe. Gasly has been running on mediums for quite a number of laps now. But definitely a lot between Mercedes and Red Bull as to what could they have done to move faster. I'm almost wondering if not switching to the hards earlier in the race for Verstappen maybe lost him some time. Not that it seems to matter. He is, 3 3/4 of a second ahead. Oh, Christ. The sun is finally coming out, but my brain is not still fully functional. Uh, so Sergio Perez hunting down Lando Norris. Uh, Fernando Alonso right on the back of Carlos Sainz. Ooh. Fernando Alonso right alongside Carlos Sainz, right on the back of him. Ooh, little back end twitch. All right, we are at a grand total of 6 laps left of this Grand Prix. 4.3-second gap from Verstappen to Hamilton. So he is really pulling out. Oh, a little bit of lockup by touch of a flat spot on the right front. Perez has gotten past Lando Norris, folks. So he is going to push to reach Ocon and Alonso. All right, so here's the move. Perez on the outside of one. Oh, and a big hit on the sideboard. Boom. Oh, big hits. Both damage to the floorboards for sure there. Oh. So we may be looking at, yeah, that's a racing incident, but they may look into it at least. They're gonna box Bottas. So, wow. Oh, terrible pit stop. 5 seconds in the pit. Hmm. So they pitted Bottas to be on the softs +1, but they're not going for. Okay, so. Three laps to go. 3-second gap Verstappen has on Hamilton. And then we're looking at 51 seconds from Hamilton to Bottas. And then another 25 from Bottas to Gasly, who was 45 seconds back from him previous to that pit stop. So very, very interesting. This. They. So. No, fastest lap for Bottas. He aborted it and still got it. Wow. So 1.5 seconds faster. So Perez has passed Ocon to pick up P8 and is now only 1.2 behind Alonso, but with 2 laps left, it may not be enough time. Coming around the last corners, Max Verstappen to start the last lap of this Grand Prix. The final lap of the Grand Prix. This crowd is going to blow up. They are so loud. They are so loud. We have standing. The crowd is erupting as Max Verstappen through the chicane. Coming around the final 2 corners. Down the finish line straight, and Max Verstappen wins the Dutch Grand Prix. And oh my God, The crowd has exploded. Max Verstappen wins the Dutch Grand Prix. What a race. What a race. That was incredible. That and Lewis Hamilton takes fastest lap of the race on his last lap. So he does get his fastest lap. Pierre Gasly comes in and holds onto that P4. That is fantastic. That is perfect. And Lewis Hamilton with a 111 flat. That is very fast. Well done. What a race. Wins the home race. Well done. So I'm going to turn down the volume on my feed. So, what a race. Full 25 points. Now we know that I believe Max Verstappen has taken the lead in the Drivers' Championship. I believe. We'll have to double check that because I'm horrible at math. I was in the Marine Corps after all. Math is not our strong suit. But Lewis Hamilton critically taking that point for fastest lap away from his teammate Valtteri Bottas, who really didn't even intend to take that. My God, this crowd is erupting. This crowd has just lost their shit. As far as the constructors title goes, Sergio Perez did a fantastic job to get himself back up into the points. I believe he finished P8, P8 or P9. So he got himself a couple of points. That helps keep the gap from expanding too crazily in that constructor's title. I'm going to mute myself, and we're going to go ahead and listen to this crowd and their reaction to this. This is absolute insanity. God, what a reaction to that crowd. That is insane. Hand him the Dutch flag. Take a bow. And the crowd goes absolutely bonkers. Wow. So fantastic race by Red Bull Racing, not only to make sure that Max Verstappen was on the right tires to get this win, but to deal with all the issues that Sergio Perez's bad qualifying and lockups and all presented, and still give him the tire he needed to get himself up into the points and really try to limit the damage to the constructors' title hopes that Red Bull do have. So fantastic race. We're going to stick around through the podium celebrations while they are going through and doing all of their small interviews and things like that. We're going to take just a short break. We will hopefully be back right in time for the podium celebrations. And then, we'll do a little watching of some YouTube videos and just talking about the race because, my God, that was a good race. So thank you so much. If you've been following with us for now, if you like what you see, please feel free to join the channel. This will be uploaded to YouTube as well, so feel free to join there and just let us know, hey, you know, we like what we're seeing. Anyways, again, thank you guys so much for joining us here. We will be right back. Dutch Grand Prix is finished, and we'll talk about what happened. All right, and we're back just in time for the trophy presentation. Looks like we've already got bottles and all that good stuff, so Max Verstappen looks just so happy up there. Like, that's, in front of his home crowd. This is huge for him. This will be a big confidence boost, not only going through the rest of the season, but definitely in his career, knowing that he was able to win his home Grand Prix. He's gone on record. Yes, he is not officially Dutch, but his father, Formula F1 driver Jos Verstappen, is, and obviously he's gone on record saying he feels more Dutch than anything else. So congrats to him. Great race. What an effort. What a race overall. Just fantastic race. Huge grin. Look at the orange smoke everywhere. Holy shit. And the smoke's covering the camera. So, winning constructor there. Lewis Hamilton put in a fantastic drive. Just did not have the pace to keep up with Red Bull today. Valtteri Bottas on those softs, accidentally pulling that fastest lap, even slowing down in sector 3 of the lap where he took it, trying not to. Wow. Forcing the pit stop for Lewis to take that fastest lap. God. Okay, I lost my mic there for a second. Sorry about that. USB mics. One day I'll get a real one, but this is all I can afford for the time being. It's a problem with being a small-time streamer is you never know exactly what you're going to have to deal with. Thank you all so much for joining us during this fantastic Dutch Grand Prix. Fantastic race, and we will see all of you again probably Wednesday evening if I'm not exhausted. We'll play some games and we'll just have a good time of it. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Very much appreciate it. You guys have yourself a fantastic rest of the day and a fantastic week coming up. Peace.